Okay, personally, thank you, Dheeraj, for inviting me for this podcast. I'm glad to be a part of this conversation. So, just to give a brief about me, my name is Reshma Suvarna, and I currently work as a human resource business partner. Okay, and also I am a HR leadership coach. So, in my own experience, I have felt that for many years I was stuck in HR operational role with a limited salary hike and limited responsibility. So it took me a lot of hard work to understand that how to move from HR operational mindset to a HR business mindset. So I spent like couple of years in understanding that, and I coach HRs today. If they are feeling stuck in one particular role and they're stuck in operational roles, I help them to move from transactional HR to a business HR. So that's what I'm currently doing.
Can you take me to that time that you have realized this? Like, what was the scene looks like? Like, how, like, what was the triggering point that you realized that I am stuck and my salary is not enough? Or
Yeah. So what happened was, so I was a consistent growing HR up till 2019 before COVID. Okay. I was working for a 1,000+
Mhm.
company and doing payrolls, all those stuff, a very basic HR, just handling operational things. Okay. 2019, I changed my job and I went to some organization,
Mhm.
which was a kind of a startup. Okay. So over there, what happened? I was
Mhm.
again doing the same thing, practicing same
Mhm.
thing and all those stuff. Okay, operational compliances, grievances, training, and all those stuff. Okay, here my work was good, but I was not getting well with the management. Okay, management had some different expectations from
Mhm.
being the HR. The HR should be the person that she should understand some kind of a business, how the operations are working, and how that operational hour, if someone is not reporting on time, for example, how does impact the operational hour and how that impacts the business and all those stuff were happening. Then I started understanding that as they were having an expectations. Now here what happened, now I started understanding business, but I didn't have a confidence in going and telling them, if you follow this particular policy, or if you are, for example, those people were strictly against having employee leave policy. They were like, there should not be so much of leaves given, but it was not us who are giving those leaves. It is a government protocol, right? There's X number of leaves should be granted to the employees. Okay. But the management was against those leaves. Now, as an HR, have to be stronger enough or confident enough in saying that this is what the government of India has said, or what is the Maharashtra labor law is there. So you can't do that. But I didn't have that much of confidence also in telling them, because I had low self worth at those times. Okay, and so that's when I understood that I have a skill set, but I lack confidence. Now, this certification will help me to get the confidence. People will come and give you a lot of guarantee, do this, do that, you will get confidence, but there is a lot of inner work which goes in building that confidence. I still remember one incident wherein I had some issues and I wanted
Mhm.
to highlight it to the management. And I was sitting outside the cabin of my co founder, and that particular person made
Mhm.
me sit for 3 hours outside her cabin. Okay. That was the breaking point for me. I realized that maybe
Mhm.
my work was very good. People are appreciating my work, but there is
Mhm.
some gap in gaining that respect from whatever I am doing. There is something which is missing inside me, and I really have to work for it. Okay. That was my triggering point to answer your question.
Mhm.
From that day onwards, the journey began of understanding
Mhm.
who I am as a
Mhm.
person. And that's where the coaching entered in my life. So a lot of inner work happened. I struggled, a lot of limiting beliefs
Mhm.
came out and everything. And after that, I have been sitting with founders, I've been talking to them, and I'm very, very open. And they also accept whatever I say. Today in my company, majority of the thing which comes to my team, people ask me, okay, Reshma, is this the right thing to do? What is your opinion about? So I have skill set as well as I have confidence
Mhm.
in my words, and I've got this with the help of skill as well as coaching. And when I realized that, and my salary has doubled from 2019 to
Wow.
2023, I was in one salary slab, only one figure. Consistent one figure was there,
Mhm.
because people were not giving me, because it was like, beggars are not choosers kind of a thing, attitude I had. Whatever they are giving, I'll accept it like that. But 2023 to 2026, my salary has multiplied by three folds. Okay, then it has not happened because I lacked skill. It only happened
Amazing,
because I
amazing.
lacked my self-worth and confidence. And that coaching has got me. So from that day, I decided that I want to help my own people, because HR is a sensitive department of any organization. People may say that, they do time pass or rangoli makers or event managers, whatever it is. But there are seriously true HRs who actually want to make an impact.
That's very inspiring. I want to know more about your learning journey. I'm more curious about how it actually, and I mean, how long it was, what were the steps you took one by one. And I mean, can you just walk me through your
So
learning
learning
journey
journey in the
in little
sense,
bit more
I
depth?
used to do all the certifications and everything. I'm a postgraduate of specialization in HR. And then I did a lot of certification, payroll certification. I did certification from XLRI, a strategic human resource management certification, which I did it during the COVID. Again, the content was very good, but I was not able to apply it in my real life. And I think majority of us will connect with this point that whatever we learn, we cannot apply it in real life majority of the times, right? You can apply formulas here and there and all those stuff, but when it comes to practical experience, it's very difficult for us to apply it. Okay, so I learned all those stuff. So, but after that, what happened that I was, as I said, that I was stuck in one salary, one kind of a role, and one kind of growth. So over that, I got in touch with couple of coaches. Coincidentally, I got into a couple of coaches, and then the journey began in terms of lot of things. Like in the podcast will 1 hour is lesser for us to explain how the tools. So now coaching, people think that coaching is nothing. You can go and talk to your friends over the drinks and they will listen to you and they will solve your problems. That's what people think. Okay, rather than taking coaching, I will go to and talk to my friends. But it doesn't work like that. Okay, coaching is the pool of tools. Okay, I give you my example. The kind of insecure person I was, fearful person I was very confident when it comes to talking and everything. But whenever it comes to confronting someone, okay, I always used to lose my emotions. Okay, either I will get very angry or I will completely surrender.
When
Okay,
you
so there's also
started
a
it,
story to it. So at
in which year?
2024, I became a mother. All right. So when my child was born, I was going through some kind of depression, postpartum depression. To give you a story around it, I don't know, but what kind of things I was going through at that time. I was not happy at that time. Okay. There were lots and lots of breaking points happening at that particular moment of my life. Okay. It was as if the unresolved emotion which I was carrying for so many years, it was getting amplified during those months when I was a new mother. Okay. It was very difficult for me. And one point of time, it went so bad. I'll give you an example. I really don't know I should say this on this platform or no, but I will say this because if someone is here listening this, it should actually help them. So in my depression days, so I used to think that I should throw my child out of the window. And there was no reason for it. I wanted to be a mother and I was very happy with it. But there was some kind of voices inside my your child, throw your child like that. And I used to ignore it. When I used to ignore it, and then the guilt part used to come in that, as a mother, how you can think like this, you should not think like this. And the breaking point was that, one day it was, I don't know why it happens like a movie that whenever there's a disaster day of your life, it's always raining. Okay. So that day also it was raining. It was raining. And I was holding my child in front of the window. Okay. And the window did not had any grin in it. It was 3 a.m. in the morning.
Oh,
Okay. And I was like, Reshma, you need help. There is some kind of thing which is happening and all those stuff. Okay. So I went back to the bedroom, kept my child back, and I called my husband that this something is really bad with my brain. He said, it's okay, relax. I will be there in next 15 minutes. And then I went to therapy, 1 or 2 therapies. But in that journey of mine, I realized how emotions play such an important angle in your life. Okay. If that is not sorted, be you are a CEO or whatever damn thing you're doing in your life, but if you're not emotionally balanced, you can't achieve biggest things in your life. Okay, that's one of the key points I understood in this journey. Okay, when I became the mother, And after that incident, after my therapist, I decided that I really want to work on my emotional blockages. Okay. And when I started working with the help of coaching, I realized I had so many impacts of those in my professional life as well. Why I was less confident, why I was not able to speak up. There were so many connecting dots, And that day I realized when people say that I am very different when it comes to professional life and personal life, it's nothing like that. You are one person who are playing two roles with the same game rules. There is nothing personal or professional in your life. So the way you behave in professional life, you will be like in a personal life. It's simple calculation. So I really
Yeah.
worked on my emotions because I was very, very
Yeah.
tired, patterns and all those stuff. I worked on it and I came back with a bang. Okay, today I'm very clear, crystal clear and focused where I want to like that. So it helped me professionally and personally both.
It's all God's plan. I'm very devotional kind of person, and I feel like God, when God wants to teach you something, this is the way He teach. First, they break you before, and okay. I have another question. Like, um, as in, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe it's just my experience. I mean, in MP at least in my state, the education is
Right.
most you have to complete the syllabus and all the theories and everything. So as I am learning this since I'm getting into the school, in nursery, I get graduate. It's the same way of teaching, okay, where there is a syllabus, you have to read it and memorize it and write it, okay. And most of us are from mathematics background because we are engineers. We are even more into it that something is written, we have to read it and apply it. Not even apply it, I mean, we just have to write it and we'll get certification. And this, I'll come to my question actually. This is just a context I'm trying to prepare. And when we get appreciation on it,
Right.
our brain is wired that this is the right thing we are doing. So, isn't that hard for you to convince people that there is something else? There is something more. There is something invisible thing that you have to learn, because all the theory is, we can see it actually, it is written in the book, but all the emotional thing, this confidence, personality, and storytelling, because you have to teach storytelling, I guess, because this is the only way where people will listen to you. So these are all invisible thing. And so one challenge is this is invisible, and second challenge is till 22 years, 23 years or 25 years, we are wired that something has to be physically, we can witness it. So how do you see about this? I mean, is this just an India thing, or like everyone is like facing this
I'll
problem?
give an example. So I go like
View on
once,
it.
twice or thrice in a month. I go to take a session for the students. Okay, in one of the most prominent institution of our country. Okay, so and of course they're all Gen Zs, right? So when I go there and give them life coaching tools, okay, where they understand what kind of emotional challenges they are going through and how to resolve them. Okay, very simple tools. Okay. But the kind of feedback which I get after my sessions, like I have to give at least 5 hours of sessions to them. Okay. After that, I have given around 5 to 6 sessions till now. Okay. Not any sessions have gone when couple of children will come to me and they will cry. They will literally cry. All those insecurities, all those childhood baggages. Yeah, couple of them have complicated parents. But majority of them, like they have like chill parents. Yet they are going through those. And people, Gen Z people, children, okay? They are going to gym and all those jazzy things they are doing. But when I ask them why you're doing and what you're doing and why you're doing it, the answer when they go down, they realize the kind of so less self-worth. They have a very less self-worth thing for them. They have very low confidence. And just to build that up, they will do all the additional things, whatever they are doing right now. And this is the fact with my experience I have seen. So see, yes, it is invisible. As you said that you are a spiritual person and you say that when God want to show you ways, they will first, he will or she will, whatever power it is, it will break you first, right? It's an again invisible thing. It's an experience you have, right? When you say it will break you, you actually don't break yourself physically, right? You emotionally break yourself. And there is no noise to it, but you can feel it, right? So that's the power.
Okay. So is this, I mean, HR business training from transactional to business person, is it more like a life coach, life training? I don't know what it's called, life, or is it just soft skill training, or is it HR?
Yes, I have only two things in this. Okay. First thing, how to train yourself to build your confidence and courage. Or in simple words, you can say how to have a stronger mindset. Okay. And if you have a stronger mindset, it will help you in career as well as professionally. Okay. But as we are talking only about profession, so it will actually give you confidence to thrive in corporate. This is one. Second thing is skill set. So I am not the only one who will be training HR professionals for this program. I have got mentors. I have got real people, HRs, who have moved from being an HR to the CEO of the company. Okay. So they have seen from the HR to the CEO journey, and that's not a joke in today's
No
world. You know,
way.
where you have transitioned yourself from a HR to a CEO. I also have my friends who were, to work with me, and they today are at the management level. They're not HRs. They're actually working, running the entire company. So I have brought them such people in my panel. They will actually sit with my HRs and they will give their insights, their business mantras. They will help them to understand business numbers. They will give them case studies to work on, like that. So I have a mix of both the worlds. It's about everything, mindset plus skill set both. And both are very practical tools which will actually help and run in real world.
It looks very exciting, and yeah, I think, I mean, it's for me, your coaching seems to me as a shortcut, because
Me.
you either learn this by experience. I mean, you have to spend 10 years or something. You will learn by yourself, or maybe you can learn from coaching.
Cut to Dheeraj, if someone would have taught me this like 5 or 10 years back, I would have actually saved my 7 to 8 years of struggle. Literally.
Yeah, and I'm saying that it's a kind of shortcut to experience. But all right, so I would like to, I mean, if you're okay, we would like to move on to some segments. We have some prepared questions that will help us to have a more interesting conversation. So please allow me to share my screen. Okay, so welcome to our first segment. In this segment, I'm going to ask you some question, and you have to pick only one answer. Okay, you're not allowed to choose 2 or 3 or try to be diplomatic. Just be straightforward.
Sure.
Not okay. So if you're a founder or HR manager or CEO, okay, on a decision making seat, which of these 4 things scare you the most? You can only pick one. A candidate who ghosts you, doesn't show up on the first day. A candidate who lies about what they can do on their resume. A candidate who is smart but cannot explain their work to others. A candidate who has no social proof, like LinkedIn,
Point two.
GitHub, or something else.
Candidate who lies about what they can do on their resume.
Okay. So can you just tell me why you think this is the most important thing for you, and does it ever?
Of course, it has happened with me because I'm a startup specialist. People have said what not on their CVs, but when we hire them based on those words, see, I am a person who has a lot of integrity. Okay, I deliver what I promise. Okay, and of course, I expect that kind of thing from the staff or the people which I work, because that's something which is very core in me. So for me, who lies like this on the CV and they are not able to deliver, firstly, it's an integrity thing, and secondly, it costs a lot for us. Firstly, then we have to train that person, coach that person, put them on PIP, and then all those stuffs. It takes a lot of time. So I'm just scared of this particular people because for me, character matters.
Okay, and why not third option? Because it is matching with what what the
Candidate who
laws
is
you have,
smart but cannot explain their
just
work
told.
to others. The problem with this that you're running
No
a
one to
company
training
and
in it.
not a. You cannot work in isolation. Okay. And again, because I am currently dealing with such person in my professional life.
But why you
Because
didn't pick
again, I
third
said that
if-
character
why
matters.
just second
right? The
option?
third one don't have character issues here. The person is an introvert.
But he won't be, I mean, he or she won't be able to explain to other. Then, I mean, how the work will happen? I mean, let's say the character is good, but if the work is not
But
going to happen, then
For
then
boss gave me this thing, one theory in my life. The thing that you can train a person in terms of skill, but you cannot train a person in terms of integrity or an attitude that person have. That is not training. Okay. The third part, the person who is smart but cannot explain. I can train that person in terms of building confidence or a public speaking kind of a thing. We can do that. But second person, you cannot build a character. It's inbuilt. So for me, that matters. I have a product head in my current company who don't have any of this. But he's being paid a very high salary.
okay, all right. Can you walk me through or just show me what happened with you?
We hired that person as a technical lead, the below CEO level person. Okay. And that person said that I had a consultancy previously, I will give you a lot of, numbers and everything. Nothing happened after that. Once he joined in, nothing happened. Okay. So
And when did
after
you
3 months,
when did you get to know that nothing will
3
happen?
months. 3 months later, I realized that we did a mistake. It takes a lot of time to rectify those mistakes.
What about ghosting? Like you have done all the interview process is done, the person has integrity and everything, but they didn't came on first day. So it's
So you're
all,
talking specifically
time
about people who informs that they will join and they don't join. Okay.
yeah, right. They even took the offer letter and
See that the good point of being an HR plus coach is that you are prepared for the worst. Okay. Such things don't impact me anymore. See, ghosting is a part of your life. It is not going to change. In a similar way, wherein people complain, right? HR don't give the feedback after interviews. Okay. Whatever you want to complain, it is very difficult to change that aspect because people don't reply. That is the truth. In a similar way, ghosting is also the truth of your life. It will happen.
and
Prepare for plan
what is
B.
your way of dealing it?
So, what I do, but I can have two candidates for that position, right? I have offered one, right? But I can keep on interviewing and lining up interviews till that person joins in, and I do that in actual life.
Okay. So, but ultimately, it's a little bit loss. What
Yeah.
is the biggest loss, right? Okay, that's great. All right. So the next question is a little different from the past one. Here you have to rank them, okay, based on the priority. Like the first is the most priority, and the fourth one is the
Yes.
least priority for you. Okay. Can I read? So, rank these for a new starter from must have to nice to have. Okay. Trust score. Knowing the person is honest and won't ghost. In our portal in Coder Farm, we have this Coder Farm Trust Score where we have built an algorithm to get to know from every activity they do, we give them positive points, and for every bad activity, we give them negative point. So that's how we get to know that this person is credible or not. So we call that Trust Score. So in that context, knowing the person is honest and won't ghost is your must have, or skill, knowing they can actually do the job, or culture, knowing they will be fun to work with, or price, knowing they fit the budget. So you have to rank it, like which one is a must have.
Okay, so if you ask me, I will first give number to culture. Okay, then is trust score. Third is skill,
Mm-hmm.
and fourth is pride.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fourth is price. And can you tell me why you have
Because see,
choose this
again, it
order?
goes back to the foundation of the organization. Okay, if you are giving them a good salary, okay, and if the person is trustworthy also, okay, and that person has a good skill set also, but if the culture of the company is not good, it's from the company's angle, right? Right? If the culture of the company is not good, if people are
Yeah.
not respecting each other, the top management don't
Yeah.
respect people, there is no work-life balances, people won't stay. On a reverse point, if the culture is good, okay, and the other points are like 20, 19, 20 or something like that, people will consider staying in this organization because that's what the importance is. And this I have experienced in my personal life also, and the same thing is happening in my current organization also. We don't have attritions happening here because we have maintained that culture. But I haven't received any negative feedback from the culture point.
Offense, but do you have this, safety, psychological safety I mean, why? I mean, it's too good to be true that you have no negative
See, the
feedback. I
team is
mean, is that really happening?
yes.
Do
If from last 3 years, if 10 around 3 years, if 20 people have left, for example, I'm talking about only culture. I'm not talking about anything
Mhm.
else here. From the culture feedback, I haven't received negative feedback. I
Mhm.
have got negative feedback in terms of others, bosses, work processes,
Okay.
and all those stuff, but not from the culture angle.
I mean, can we
Here,
just clarify the definition of culture here? Like, what is your definition of culture?
see, candidates, I can speak for myself first. So, culture basically, what I have seen and what I'm currently experiencing is a freedom of speech where you can go and say things when it comes to your business without any fear. Okay, thinking that people won't judge you, thinking that your job won't is not on
Mm-hmm.
a red eye. For example, many of
Mm-hmm.
the founders I have seen in the past, they will make people work. Okay, and they will say that I will give you 1,000 rupees if you are achieve this particular target. But when the time arrives of giving that particular 1,000, then we will have thousands of
Mm-hmm.
reasons. Okay, you did not do this, you did not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this is again a part of your culture, showing, doing what
Mm-hmm.
you promised. You need to
Mm-hmm.
understand that. But for a longer run, if you train people today, it is going to help you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's it takes cost. I mean, it's an investment from the company, and company already want to grow or try to make money. So it's an
It
additional
depends
investment.
upon what kind of roles you're looking for. For example, if there's certain category
So are you saying that
requirement,
your priority list may
yes,
change?
yes, it may change. But I will not ever skip the part where if the other person is trainable with the right attitude, I will never skip that person. I will give him or her a proper timing. See, when I say that I will train, I'm not going to make them sit for 3 months and train them like a training center. It's on the job training, right? It's on the job training. Like in my organization, also, if
Okay.
there's need something, we have a knowledge sharing session where we come together as a team and we try and improve each other in that way. There are many other things which you can do actually to develop a human being, not only one or two ways, like a classroom thing.
I'm still not satisfied. If I see my past experience being a founder, I
Hmm.
was very much
Hmm.
for that. I want to build a culture. I want to give people time. I want to give them
Hmm.
opportunity to do something
Hmm.
impact. There is one opportunity like do something which we have not done, and the
Hmm.
second opportunity is do something meaningful, which can create impact. And I was also doing maintaining transparencies. I was sharing my insecurities so
Hmm.
they can also share their insecurity and speak up, like psychological safety. And I was trying to build a team where I was taking them to play something. So, people get mix and match because the marketing team never interact with the developers and everything. So I thought let's just take other activity where other people lead and they get interact. So basically all I'm trying to say is I was doing 4 or 5 exercises to build a better culture. But in return, in even as investing, I would call it investment. In 1 year of investment, I get nothing done because the people were not skilled. Now I tried something else. Now I look for freelancers or contractor, and I just give them work. They are highly skilled person, they are expensive person, but they get the job done. So I tried both, but now I'm more towards skill is my biggest priority. If you know your job, I'm okay to pay you. You
Right.
get the job done, and this is how business works because I am here to make money.
Hmm.
I don't want to make families with you, make
Agree.
babies. For that, I have a family.
Yes. One of the things which I learned from my last founder was that there are two categories of people. One is growth mindset, the other one is transactional mindset. If you go and give transactional person, okay, that I will give you growth, this and that,
Mm.
they will not bother. They only are focused in their money. That's it. That is transactional. Whatever work you're saying, I will bring, just like your consults and everything. There are other category of people who actually want growth. Okay, they want to take additional responsibilities and move from. So, as a founder, it is our duty to make sure what category of people you are working for. As an HR, also, it is my duty to see who is worth the efforts and who is not. Okay, so when I say culture point of view, I'm not saying that I will sit and train each and every person. It depends upon the balance of the business, the numbers, the kind of business priorities you have right now. That's what I meant. Giving priority to the culture first.
Okay. And what do you think about the ghosting when one round is completed
Mm.
and you expect the candidate for next round maybe after 2 days or 3 days, and then they do not appear. Okay, my experience so far is like when this happens, I feel like I took it on myself actually. I think that my company is not attractive enough that this person will come 30 minutes early or 15 minutes early.
Stop thinking in that way.
Oh yeah, please educate me.
Because see, you are looking at things from your perception. Okay.
Hmm.
What I say that if
Mhm.
that person has not joined our organization, is their loss. We are the best boss.
Mhm.
Like that. I faced this question in my organization as well, where I was trying to pitch some of the profiles, and I said that this is a company, we are so many crores, and and all those stuff. And but still that person didn't turn out for the interview. So this question was asked to me by one of my tech leads, saying that people will easily run to Facebook and Google, but why they're not coming to us? The journey is completely different. People will, of course, even I asked you, if you get an offer from Google, you won't join them. The answer was, of course, he will join. Right? For me also. Tomorrow, if I get an offer from Google, I will
Yeah,
also join. Yeah.
If you ask me, then I won't join.
I will join. Because I see a lot of Instagram, reels where they cook good food in Google Office. So I just want to go and explore that once. At least I'll attend the interview.
Okay, they marketed this side of their company very well.
Very well. Yes.
Not just to their client or customer. We do marketing only for the clients or customers.
Yes.
We don't do any marketing or branding for employees.
And
So this is what I feel
Yeah.
when people don't show up. That I didn't do enough to build a brand that people will show up on time.
one of the startup where I worked in, we did very well in terms of market. You don't have to carry your resume. You have to just walk in and talk.
Mhm.
And we did a very good branding around it. So, but because of
Yeah,
the brand
to-
building
to-
we
yeah,
did for a new
branding.
brand in India, it actually helped us to get right kind of people. But it took us 1 or 2 years to do that, to tell you the fact.
Okay. So ultimately it's
Brand building.
it starts with company. If they do branding, people won't ghost it. Right?
I don't think so. That is true, but
Okay.
maybe. It depends upon percentage. But I won't say that no one will ghost the company. It's not like that.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. But still the percentage will improve at least.
Yes. Yes.
Now we came to segment 2,
Hmm.
and this is related to hiring question. Many HR expects candidate to know about the company before the interview. Company websites profile only show clients' work or portfolio to attract the client, and very little about the company culture and how do you think candidates can learn about the culture and internal environment before joining.
What I've experienced is that nowadays candidates also talk to the existing employees of that particular company. They ping them via LinkedIn and check them how's the company's culture and all those stuff.
But I tried it, it didn't work for me. For example, let's say I want to work for Oracle. If I type on LinkedIn Oracle, there will be thousands of. How do I know that to whom I should talk to?
Glassdoor, the standard answer.
Glassdoor doesn't have any verified answer.
Companies, but everything can't be right or be. It depends upon all your judgment. Because for example, if I go somewhere for the interview, I basically go for the Glassdoor reviews and check them. From there, I talk to them and try and find out what the culture is. For example, for that matter, if you talk to the people who are working in that company, they are not happy with the company. They are like, the culture is very toxic, but the name is good.
As we are talking, is the company's environment is not good or that team culture was not good?
The problem is that if the team culture is not good, there is no action taken against that particular team member or a team like that. Because I have met with 2 or 3 people, and my relative also worked in so lot of issues were happening in terms of culture, and couple of interviews have taken recently, and they also belong, and they were like, the company culture is getting toxic day by day, like that. So when I talk about toxic, it's about disrespectful behavior while during meetings, yelling and all those stuff happening during the conversations and everything like that.
So here we are talking about 2 things. One is company branding and second is culture. For us, what we have tried on Coder Farm portal is just like LinkedIn, very similar to LinkedIn, but more focused on the employee side. So company shows and tell information so the candidate can learn about the company before joining. So this is what we have done. So company can get branding and everything, and people can judge before hiring. And second thing is to write review. What we have tried is only the verified people can write review, and they can they can show their identity or they can keep it anonymous. So what we do is, for example, Reshma is a 10-year experience person and she has worked 5 years on this position in this company. So her review will be very impactful compared to a fresher who just joined a month ago. Okay. What we have tried is, along with you can keep your name. Viewers can see that this person is authoritative person and they have worked here. The relationship is for 5 years and the person is very senior person. They can weight the review, like which review to take in or which to avoid. We have tried to keep the review automation. So if you are in the company, you will get some automated notifications to write the review. So you just don't write when you are very dissatisfied. You also write the format in a way that you don't write it subjectively or you don't know that what exactly we are trying to ask. So we keep the format in a way that we actually ask in a very diplomatic way. So we get the raw and honest feedback. So this is what we have done in Coder Farm portal.
So how you are going to take care of the badas in your portal? For example, as you said
They
that
can one is, there is an automated system which asks you as an employee. It is going to send some choose one and do the rating and everything, and also subjective. Then it will analyze the answer and there is an option either to give the feedback only to Coder Farm, to the admin of this portal, or to the company admin who is handling the review. So there are two kind of review. Let's say there is a ABC company we work for. You give review to ABC and there is also review which you give to Coder Farm, which you want to keep secret. So this is about ABC, but you don't want ABC to know that you gave this feedback. We converted that review in a diplomatic way to send them, so they don't know that this person has wrote it. So the candidate will join the team, not just the company. So for example, a company is 500 people, the candidate can join a team, because I think even there will be some good teams. Maybe I want to join it because I like, but I want that team to be joined. The team has a culture, not the company. That's what we have tried on Coder Farm. So you post a job as a HR, you pick which team this candidate is going to join in. So before joining, they will have a information that I am going to join this company, this team. So this is the solution we came up, and we are open to learn how people will respond and we will try to modify it. Okay, so segment 3 is the battle. Let's have a small debate. Most people use PDF resume. Coder Farm use live card, trust score, like a grading system. Which one is better real story about the person? So very similar to LinkedIn profile, we have created a resume and it is all verified. So if there is a LinkedIn verified, we give a LinkedIn verified tick. If there's government ID verified, we give them tick, and we manually do it. It's not outsourced to AI right now. So why not PDF? Because it's a very traditional thing.
Yeah, but traditional, it's not necessary. If things are traditional, they are good or right?
Okay.
And go ahead and change, right?
I have worked with my clients, some of my clients, and they say, okay, we got your CF card. It's a live, and I can see everything in detail. But to proceed to conduct the interview, I need resume. I don't know why this is happening. Why the system is like rules which are unnecessary, or maybe I am thinking it's unnecessary. What do you think about it?
Maybe the point happens in many of the companies is that they have to upload that particular format in their local portal, maybe, or that will be processed further for different compliances thing, or it may route to different. Maybe that is one of the reasons they may be saying that PDF is needed for that. Otherwise, if you ask me, I am okay with any format. If I'm getting something worth enough and it is helping me to solve my problem, I'm okay with any format.
The reason we came up with this CF profile is because mostly people do their own formatting.
Yes.
Okay, they write key responsibility in something else, and they write hard skill and soft skill are merged, personality is merged. They don't know what is the difference between attitude and soft skill and personality. But we might be interested in their logistic project, so we can directly go up there and read about it. So that's what we have done.
Does your card data converts itself to a PDF later on? Maybe that will help them.
Right now it's not done. In just 2 minutes ago, I thought I should do it. So So there will be a button that download the resume, and
Yes.
and you can download.
Yes. You should do.
I think this is just second last question, so we can wrap up it in 10 minutes. Okay, what would you do? Okay, the scenario is there is a scene, a technically strong team member show a toxic behavior. What would you do? Coach, warn, or replace?
So I have to choose only one right now.
Yes, yes.
I
And
will
tell me why you choose that and why not other.
coach.
But it's a toxic behavior. Why
But
you
he's
are
a
saying that culture is your pride?
he's a technically strong
So
person.
no,
To me.
now you are putting
I'll give you.
skill above the culture.
See, I had that with a person who was amazing. The problem with that number is because that person had lot of IQ but lesser EQ. Okay. So
Mhm.
after talking to, he joined maybe in some month, I don't remember exactly. And after 1 or 2 months, we started seeing the repercussions of his behavior. He just go and lash out and
Mhm.
talk with people. Number chahiye, matlab chahiye, and all those stuff. Shrewd business numbers person. But after that, when sitting to him, talking to him, making him understand what our culture is and what are set of things which he have to change in his behavior and everything. But the person should be open to change. If that person is very adamant that whatever he or she is doing is right, then we have to replace that character. We cannot do anything in
And
that.
what is your bracket to change the decision? For example, you coach me today. Like, what is your next step when it will happen?
I gave you some few days kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
What was those days?
What is your few days?
I gave you that number during a conversation.
3 months.
Because even if you put someone on PIP, performance
But
improvement plan,
don't you think it will encourage other people to do that thing because they did not face any consequences?
not consequences. I'm putting that person on PIP in the name of coaching.
Okay. Because I did very I did that thing in my career, and I faced that consequences. Someone is coming late, and I thought, okay, is technically strong person. I just ask him that please be on time. Now other people is taking a reference of him and coming late, and I cannot say anything because that person is doing so. What do I don't know.
There are certain things which we do as an HR. We can issue warning letters, and you should make sure that people should know that you have issued warning letters to that person. Okay? Only one warning letter.
And how it can be done.
Was if you're sitting on a lunch table, you can just create a story
Okay.
like that.
All right.
So there is never a black and white things of doing things. As an HR professional, I'm saying there's always a kind of gray also where you actually need to transition from black to white to black or something. So there's always a way of diplomatically handling things based on the business requirements.
And when is your time that you will think that I should replace the guy?
The day someone comes and complains, or I see that the person is not improving enough even after coaching or helping, there's always a judgment day where it comes that I say, okay, this is not working, it's better that we let that person go.
And when we let go the person, they have to serve the notice period, and in that notice period they do more bad things and damage the culture.
So I will tell them that we are going to pay for the month, whatever your notice period is. You don't come to office from tomorrow onwards. You stay at home, look for a job,
Okay.
stay there, stay away
Okay,
from the
okay.
company. We'll pay you.
Okay, so money is the solution, which I didn't had that time, so I cannot do that.
But see,
I
even if
couldn't
you're
afford
calling that
that.
person to the office, it is creating
They
ruckus for
won't do
you.
the work. Yeah.
So you are anyways going to give him that
absolutely.
money. So give him at home, no? Let him sit.
Actually, as a middle class people,
Yes.
start the entrepreneurship journey, we try to get value out of every penny, and it doesn't work in entrepreneurship.
Yes.
I learned this after 7 years and lakhs of loss.
Good that you learned it, because no one can teach you that. No certification can teach you that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an invisible thing which you learn from either from experience or by coaching.
Yes.
But it is really hard for finding those coachable people who are really able to take the information and actually apply it. All right, so this is our last segment and last question. It's true or false, very easy. Job description are often misleading.
Sad to say true.
And why?
People put unrealistic expectations in the job description. It's not clear what they're expecting from the candidate. Like, for example, in some of the roles, they have a mix of two profiles and they're expecting one person to play both the roles. That is not possible. You know, recently I
How do
saw one of the JD for HR business partner. It was a mini CEO kind of a thing. Like the person should know this, person should know that, this and that, everything like that. And salary?
Okay. So most of the time is exaggeration and lot of responsibility and less budget. This is what you're trying to say?
A lack of unclarity because job description actually shows what company is actually thinking. If company is not clear what they're expecting, they will write unclear things on JD. If JD is precise and very clear about everything, which means that company knows which direction they are going.
And what if the company puts a lot of effort but candidate do not bother to read?
That is first level of screening happens. Now you go and ask them, have you read the job description? Do you have a clarity about your role? Screening, which happens, which is nowadays AI is doing.
But you know, LinkedIn and Naukri.com, they all are making applying easy. So they do not even bother to read it. It's just one click, and if they have four hands, they will do 4 applies at one.
Yes, because that's their birthright, right? They can go and apply anywhere.
We created a job description template. Okay, and we gave them a lot of options to pick. So it will, try to save HR's time. Recently, one of the candidate we placed in a Delhi-based company, and after hiring, the candidate is asking to us, is my job 5-day working or 6-day working?
Oh.
Okay. And I thought he should know it before even first round. Okay. This is his right.
Yes.
And on my job description, this job post template, there is this thing. You have to mention it. Like what is the time zone and how many days is working days. Candidate, but the HR is not cooperating. They were like, we'll see it later. Just bring the candidate on board as fast as we can. So this is the problem we are facing. I mean, I don't know how to solve it right now.
You cannot solve it immediately. Okay, you have to do whatever they are saying as of now.
Yeah.
Because I cannot blame HR also because they need to close position at particular time. So they are in a hurry. Okay? So either you work with HR who clearly know what they want, or give them the candidates. Because that's what they are used to right now.
Next is founder makes better recruitment than HR.
Yeah, this is very tricky question to ask. Okay, it's neither founders.
Because you are a HR
They
and you
work
are
together.
HR and you work very close with founder. Yeah.
See, the thing is that it depends. Yeah, tell me.
You have to choose one, true or false. Sorry. False. Why?
No, I can't give this answer in true or false. I'm sorry. This is beyond my this thing because hiring is not one man's story. It's a journey of many departments. So I won't say that it's only founder or HR. Sorry. You have to cancel this question for me.
Third, a bad hire is worse than leaving a role unfilled.
Yes, definitely. True.
But don't you think that it's just 1% applied in the world? We all know it's true, but I don't think it's happening.
To give you a practical example, I had one of such an employee. Okay, that position was not getting filled, so we anyhow found one and we just filled it up under pressure. Okay, after that, okay, the kind of personality we accidentally bought in the organization and the rectification time which took after the person left the company was around 6 to 8 months. Firstly, the kind of work which was expecting was not happening. Secondly, the toxicity was a different level. Third thing, there was no level of seriousness in the commitments or anything. Whatever we say was manipulated and told in the different scenarios to the other team members and all those stuff. So I believe that it's better to delay things if you're not finding the right person rather than doing a wrong hiring until and unless it depends upon the position. Again, it's not a general statement. It depends on the position.
Next, soft skills are harder to teach than technical skills because you told already that I will coach. But we discussed this 2 times, and in both cases, the soft skill was the problem.
Yes, of course, soft skills are different because, of course, you cannot see it. You can only experience it or
yeah.
feel it. Just difficult.
And culture fit matters. You already gave
Yeah.
that, but still, it's about experience. Culture fit matters more than experience, or not?
For me, if the sad answer is yes, because I have hired a senior person.
When I ask this question to HR, they always say yes. When I ask this question to founders, they say no.
No. Yes, of course. That's the beauty of it, no. And then when that experienced person is not able to gel up with the team, the same founder will come and ask HR why you hired him or her, for that matter.
All right. Okay, I think I'm done with all the questions. I think we are very close to your next meeting, and I want to give you some break. I know you are a very cooperative person. You gave us a lot of energy, insights, and your time and patience. Thank you so much for it. I hope you enjoy that.